In Wiltshire, Jamie Collins has only been a police officer since 2017.
I wanted to join the police because it was something different. It was a job where you wouldn't be sat in an office. I'd never look outside and go, oh, I wish I could go and do something else. There was a lot more pressure than I expected.
Jamie is a very kind person. He's very hardworking. He's not going to hold back and avoid doing things because he's Jamie and he's going to still get stuck in.
Wiltshire's very rural. You can have 10, 15 miles between towns. There are a number of domestic incidents that we go to. Rural burglaries, people stealing high-value items, thefts of tools, machinery from houses in those faraway places. The shift had been fine. It had been a few minor jobs that I'd managed to deal with there and then. I got tasked to this incident in Melksham. Another hub had asked for our hub to send somebody over to help out, so I went over. I was out of my normal area. I was aware that there wasn't really anybody that was going to be with me.
We were having a really busy day. We had suspects in custody and 999 emergencies coming in very fast.
There was a report of a man that had smashed through a window and had then taken his 2-year-old son with him, but was still in the area. I drove into the street and I could see him with 2 or 3 other people standing there, and he had the 2-year-old in his arms. As soon as he saw my car come around the corner, he ran off towards some garages and down an alley, so I got out my car and ran after him. When we got to the end of the alley, he then stopped, child in arms.
So currently Mill Lane with Philip at the moment.
You need to get facts.
All right, okay.
Right.
Let's give little one. No.
Phil.
We started talking about whether he'd give over the child, and he said, no, I'm not going to do that.
Look, we need to get your hands sorted first, don't we? Why not? What's happened today then? Run me through it.
The child looked absolutely terrified. He was crying.
Yeah.
Don't threaten me.
Yeah, all in order.
I thought, hopefully, he's going to be calm, we can negotiate, we can talk about this.
Just asking me where I am, right? Yeah, I'm Mill Lane, and I'm with Philip at the moment, just talking to him.
We go around now and talk to all
No, we'll stay here, shall we, mate?
He then began to walk back up the track that he just came down and towards the people that he'd been talking to, and I was in tow.
I'm doing it with my friends because they...
Can you just confirm what's been disclosed?
I could see that he had a very badly injured arm, and I was worried at the fact that he was also bleeding out because there was a lot of blood coming out of there, and I presume that was from where he'd smashed the window.
Got quite a heavy injury to his right hand as well, so we're going to need an ambulance, I think.
Fuck the ambulance.
Mate, you need to be checked out for that, don't you? Look.
I don't want in the fucking ambulance. Right?
Phil, calm down. Calm down.
Don't tell me I need this.
My mind was going through, how can I get this child off him? That was, at that point, my main concern.
Phil, at the moment then, you need to get somebody to give the child over, all right? It's gonna happen because you smashed the window, haven't you?
I haven't smashed the window.
Listen to me. Can someone take the little one off then, please?
Come in.
In ambulance.
Phil, can you just give him over for me?
No, because you said you were going to listen to me, man.
Well, I'm going to listen to you.
No, because you
At the moment, you're walking off, aren't you?
Well, listen to me. Said, you talk to me in front of my friends.
Give over and we'll have a chat, all right?
No.
Right, in that case then, we're going to have to take him, aren't we?
Thankfully, I think more because his friends told him to give him over, he gave the child over.
Right, Phil, I'm going to put these on you, all right?
And at that point, he then backed up a little bit.
Put them out front. Phil.
I then gave chase to him, and he stopped dead, turned around, and flicked his arm up, which covered my face in blood. Straight away, I could just taste blood in my mouth. I knew exactly what it was, and that really worried me. I've got someone else's blood in my mouth. This is horrible. He's trying to fight me. I need to get him on the ground.
Get down, no!
Whilst we were on the ground, he kicked me in the chest. I got punched to the face.
You said you were going to talk to me. You said you were going to talk to me. No.
I thought, oh, this has now gone south. I need somebody here now. And that was the point where I pressed my emergency button.
You said you were going to talk to me. You said you were going to talk to me. No.
As I pressed my emergency button, my radio ripped off my stab vest and went to the floor. And there was no chance of me getting that back. So I just hoped that I managed to press it and that people knew that this was going on.
The next thing you know, the emergency button had been activated, and yeah, I just instantly felt fear because I knew it was Jamie. And I couldn't hear what Jamie was saying, so all we could hear was the sound of Jamie being thrown up against garages, being assaulted. We needed to get there fast.
You said you were going to talk to me. You said you were going to talk to me. No.
He veered up, slammed my head against the garage. And then we went back down to the floor and I managed to pin him down.
You said you were going to talk to me.
Right, stay calm.
I then hear Jason come in from the back shouting, "Get down," or something like that, "Show me your hands."
Stay calm.
Get down now! Show me your hands now!
Put your...
Show me your hands
He
now!
said he was gonna
Stop
talk to me.
moving!
He said he was going to talk to me.
Stop moving
No.
now!
Fuck you prick. Wait. See, look, over the top. Dave, video it.
His arms were going everywhere and he was actually trying to scrape his wound on the gravel floor.
There's some people in responsibility.
Calm yourself down
I'm done, mate.
and we'll get you some help, all right?
When I arrived at the scene, Jamie's face was just covered in blood, and it was horrific. I could see blood all up the garage that Jamie had been thrown into. I could see that the male was still struggling.
Time is 20:26.
Yeah. What?
Keep your hands still.
No, fuck you, mate.
You go from this point where you're trying to get control of this guy, you're trying to essentially beat him in a fight that he's started, to then we've got to look after him now. We've got to make sure that he doesn't do any more damage to this arm, and we need to get him an ambulance.
Down, all right?
Get up my fucking hand.
No, because you
I didn't do
lashed
shit.
out and kicked me and punched me as well.
Because you said you were going to speak to me like a man, and you didn't.
And you ran off.
No, you done the opposite. Admit the truth. Admit the truth.
That's what happened. It's all on my body camera.
Even when we had him detained in handcuffs and leg restraints, he was still continuing to try and graze and scrape his knuckles across the ground, and he just wasn't stopping.
Wait. Yeah, if you can, mate.
Do it.
Got blood all over my face and in my mouth, and wanted to try and I was spitting it out as best I could. It was something I don't normally like to do, spit out in public, but to me it was a case of I really don't want to swallow any more of this.
Talk to me.
Yeah. Oh, really?
The suspect's blood had been thrown in Jamie's face. We didn't know if the suspect had any infections. My priority was to get Jamie to hospital to get him checked.
I went into A&E. They explained to me that it would be a case that they go and ask him to give a sample of his blood that can be tested, just to make sure that there's no bloodborne diseases or anything like that. They went and asked the guy who was in the same A&E department as me having his hand treated, and he refused to have any blood tests done. So it was then a case that I was told, and it'll be 5 months of testing. I was angry at that point. Having a blood test isn't that much of an issue. and he outright refused to do it. My partner, she was devastated. She broke down in tears. We went to court the next day, so for him, it was over and done with. It was 5 months after the incident that I got the all clear. I was so relieved when I got the results because it's just the end of that chapter. You can then forget about it. You know you're all clear, and it is closure.
In Liverpool, Dave Cullen has been a police officer for 20 years and is used to being single-crewed.
I police a lot of the time on my own, and quite often you're targeting burglars in the night time and drug dealers who may be 2, 3, 4 up in a car, and there's a greater risk. Any police officer who tells you they're never nervous is lying to you. There's been many times where I've been nervous and worried about my own safety. I was out in my car, just patrolling round. These are the car parks where I'd previously found stolen cars, and it was just as I was coming to the mouth of the 3rd car park, the van came past. Quickly typed the registration in and then drove off after the van, intending to stop it. The van turned down a side street, the check came back. It was registered outside of the Merseyside area, quite a distance away, and it was insured to someone else in a completely different part of the country, which was strange. And as I've turned and looked up, instead of him being just a few car lengths ahead, he was a considerable distance ahead for what seemed to me to be trying to get away from me. So I've accelerated to catch up to him, and then the van turned right. As I've turned, I could see the van had just pulled up, approximately where the van is, this van is now, which is separate and nothing to do with it. And a couple of lads had crossed the road and gone into a house, and the female passenger, and I literally just come to a stop here, just as the driver was coming around the front. He seemed all right, didn't seem overly concerned about being stopped, just explained to him, just stopping you for a document check. Something to do day in, day out, without any incidents. So didn't think anything of it at this point. And then went through the drug wipe procedure. That normally takes about 8 minutes to come back. So I was with him for probably about 10 minutes or so, just me and him in the car, and everything was fine, no issues. And then the drug wipe came back, so put the body cam on. He was thinking he was going to get out, and as I opened the rear door, I then took hold of him, handcuffed him, told him he was under arrest for failing the drug wipe.
You are actually under arrest on suspicion of driving whilst over the prescribed limit. Right, so it's got to tell you, mate, that you do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned something which you may later learn in court. Anything you do say may be given evidence, OK? The power of arrest is preserved, but it's also for the prompt and effective investigation of the offence. OK, what's happened now, mate? You'll have to come to the police station. He asked me to pass some money to his girlfriend, which was his, but he'd already told me he was unemployed and finding money tight. This pocket here? Yeah. How much is there? £1,600. Okay. And where's that from? And you're not working at the moment, that's what you told me. My girlfriend's money. So that was going to be seized, so I put that back in his pocket. Right, that's coming with you for now. Checked for weapons, nothing else, and he asked me if I could give the keys to his brother. Yeah, I can have this, please. I'm always polite with people, and I will always speak to people in a polite manner, because I'm very mindful as well, even with people who commit crime, is everybody makes mistakes. I'm not going to let someone else affect me so badly that it's going to have an impact on my family, because I try to limit the impact that policing has on my family, and when I go home, I'm home. I have a faith, and I don't believe that this life's the end of it, and so that keeps me going. You're not always going to be okay, and you need to be a little bit more switched on with your safety, because I want to walk through that door every night back to my family. He's under arrest. Drug driving.
The brother came, I closed the door of the police car and I started getting the van key off so I could give the house keys to his brother.
Yeah, so I'm taking off now. Doesn't mean he's over the limit, mate. What it means is we have to come to the police station and just do some further tests, that all. Hopefully it shouldn't be too long.
Alright, so I'll
And then I suddenly heard a click. The sound of a car door being locked from inside. I looked down to my left and the driver had managed to take his seatbelt off and was now climbing in towards the driver's seat. So I immediately reacted, opened the passenger door, sort of dove at him to grab hold of him. At which point I suddenly felt the brother grabbing me and I could feel blows to the back of my head.
Get him out! Get him out!
Con requires! Con requires!
Get him out!
The main threat was the brother outside because he was above me. I managed to reach to me CS spray. Without looking, sort of just sprayed upwards. I still had hold of the driver at this time, and the engine of the car was now revving. And this lad just floored it. The passenger door was open. I obviously didn't have my seatbelt on. And I remember thinking, you know, am I going to make it home tonight? I remember pulling at the handbrake as hard as I can, trying to stop. As the car was driving down the road, I said to him, mate, you're gonna kill us? And he just went, yeah, I know, yeah.
Mate, you're gonna kill us? Oh, yeah.
It sends a shiver down your spine.
Con requires! Con requires!
I was fearful of family and what will happen if I don't make it home. Of kids growing up without a dad. The car stalled. I was struggling with the lad, so I took my right hand off to transmit on the radio again. In the side the urgent assistance, we don't use that phrase, we use con requires.
Con requires!
But when I did that, the lad managed to run away, at which point then I had to clamber over the driver's seat and ran after him on foot. It was a bit of a foot chase. I am reasonably fit for my age, but I was suffering from the effects of CS now as well.
Con requires!
I'd still not heard anything on my radio. Normally when you put out a con requires, you hear all sorts of different call signs shouting up the radio operator trying to find exactly where you are if they can't get you on your radio. And it was nothing, it was just silence.
Male's been arrested, escaped lawful custody, and assaulted me.
When the button's pressed, it's a horrible moment in your life. No matter what you're doing, no matter how jovial you may be in a moment with someone, when the button gets pressed, your life stops.
Got to the bottom of the road, no sign of him.
Gonna go into a house there.
It was basically a big loop he'd done. Got back to the bottom of the road where it had all initially happened. By this time, numerous other officers had come, and my own sergeant had turned up.
No idea what's gone on, and turning up as the sergeant, you're the one who brings order to chaos. And then Dave came out in front of me, and he looked pale, he looked shaken up, he was still out of breath.
Explained to them what had happened, showed them the footage. They were like, right, you need to go back to the police station. Chill out, we'll take over from here. We didn't trace him that night. Didn't trace the other brother that night either. And so I felt that actually I'd done a pretty poor job. Not only had I been assaulted, that I'd allowed someone to drive my vehicle. I felt like a bit of a failure, to be honest.
When the first guy handed himself in, it's a good feeling. It's a positive feeling because you know things are moving on. It was clear in the hours, days, weeks following the incident that it had a profound effect on him. And whilst he came to work, he went out, he did his job, it was clear that it knocked his confidence.
I remember watching the footage again and just having this overwhelming feeling that I wanted to burst out into tears. I'd never experienced feelings like that in 18 years of policing as it was at the time.
Mate, you're gonna kill us. Oh, yeah.
I'd start getting me panic attacks and pains down my arm. So I was starting to have nightmares. I couldn't police properly. I was fearful all the time that it was going to happen again. So I went to my doctors and I ended up being on antidepressants.
There's no magical thing that I can say to him as a sergeant which makes his confidence come back, which makes him feel safe to be at work on his own when he's out. All I can do is be supportive.
Tango X-ray 99, I'm going to head that way as well to have a look. Can you give us the last 2 digits, please? I thought, I'm not going to let him win. I'm not going to let someone else affect me so badly that I can't do the job that I love. I persevered and eventually came off the antidepressants and I was back out and about on my own without worrying when I stopped cars.
In North Wales, Mark Lee has been a PC for 10 years. He currently works in plain clothes.
Anglesey is beautiful. It's a lovely place. But the reality is the ruralness of where we are comes with its own issues. We are busy because there aren't that many of us.
Policing Anglesey is a luxury, really, because, yeah, crime is low, it's a safe place to live, and we tend to know who our criminals are.
I've worked with Debbie on and off since 2013. And luckily, we got on really well. We argue like a married couple. Not that all married couples argue, but we do argue a lot.
All we do is bicker, but the bond there is really strong.
That red Seat's been back again.
Did you get the reg?
Of the... yeah.
Of the Seat?
Yeah.
Where's it gone now?
Oh,
Did it go down?
I don't know. I don't have X-ray eyes.
I thought you said you saw it.
I did see it.
Where's it gone then?
Well, I don't know where it's gone. I was turning
Did it
around.
go that way? Or did it go that way?
And you just get out of the car.
Both he and I are known for being shit magnets, is what we're known as within the police. Yeah, if it's going to happen, it will happen in front of us. Being a plainclothes officer, obviously it has its pros and cons in the sense that we can do things covertly.
It just gives us a slight advantage sometimes at catching people.
We do have that luxury that we can be out there practically invisible. The only issues with that when we do strike on an individual, that sometimes that can cause them to be confused as to who we are, so they can misconstrue that as being seen to being attacked by a member of the public.
It was one of those unusually nice days in Anglesey. The sun was shining and Llangefni was pretty busy. We went out, we're in town. Remember there was a bus here. and it was roughly here I heard the loud music come on. And I looked in my mirror, and this is when the car arrived, and it was just backing off and driving at me and backing off and driving at me. Pulled over exactly where we are now, and I said to Debbie, "What's this guy's problem?" And as I parked up here, they passed me. I could just see his mouth going on, and obviously he was saying something. And then it stopped, like he realised, oh, that's the police. Because I'm dressed as exactly the same then as I am now. He moved off, and I decided to follow him. I stayed a distance off him, but at that point, all he'd done is play loud music, so it's just a vibe that I got from the car. But then he started to get more ground on us. So I remember Debbie started to do a check on the car, because it then darted to the petrol station. I followed him in. I parked some distance away. Although he parked at a petrol pump, he didn't get out. He just sat in his car while Debbie was still doing her checks. I remember setting off around the back of the car. I drove around to the front of his vehicle, and as I stopped in front of him to stop him driving away, I saw him straight away reaching with his left arm trying to get reverse. I got out of my car. I was wearing a police vest. I had my taser, my radio, my spray, everything was on show. So I shouted, "Stop, police," and I believe he hit me with the car.
Sorry. It's like something from an action movie. Because Mark's been struck, gone up onto the bonnet and hit the windscreen, and then is carried. There was a pause before he drove at Mark. Now that's all you need to think, what am I going to do here to get away? Because that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to get away. And if that meant taking Mark out, then that's what he was going to do.
I remember banging my head on what I now know to be the floor. I felt a sharp pain. It was really, really intense. And everything went white.
Please walk that vehicle. All trying to get me officers down Hoover Road. My colleague's just been struck by that vehicle.
As I came round the pump, I saw Mark lying on the concrete, a couple of pumps away. I remember just looking at him thinking, he'll get up now, he'll get up, because that's what Mark does. But of course he didn't get up, and it was at that point that I knew something really serious had happened to him.
We have an ambulance to the petrol station. Text to go garage to massive emergency, please.
Mark's on the floor, and he's lifeless. He was white, he was deathly white. He didn't talk initially, and yeah, I feared the worst at that point.
I remember Debbie arriving, and she grabbed hold of my head. I said, my head's killing in my neck.
He eventually started to speak to me and just said that all he could see was lights, like really white lights, but obviously there weren't any. So I knew I was dealing with somebody with probable head trauma, concussion.
Incident at Glanhoover Road, 2872, struck by suspect vehicle, helimed and paramedics in attendance.
Initially, I didn't know whether there was anything major that had happened to his head or back, or, you know, I'm dealing with something I don't know, but the main thing at this moment in time is he's now speaking to me, so he's alive. That's the biggie.
surrounding areas. All officers angle scene surrounding areas. Observations are requested for a Volkswagen Golf in black. If seen, please stop, check and report back to the office. The vehicle has been involved in a RTC and failed to stop after striking a police officer.
The officers were dispatched and the little team that we have had then picked up the vehicle.
Can Gwynedd Health officers possibly cover the bridges for us, please?
The vehicle was effectively stopped and the offender was arrested pretty swiftly.
Couldn't hear anything, I couldn't see anything, and I just couldn't open my eyes. And they popped me into an ambulance, and off I went to hospital. I damaged my shoulder quite badly, and I had a scan, and they gave me the good news that there wasn't anything sinister. They said, you have got really, really bad concussion, and it's probably going to sit with you for about 3 weeks, if not more. But at least I knew that I was okay.
On a regular basis, I get patients in here that have been rammed, or they've been thrown onto a bonnet, or they've been dragged along by a car door, they've held onto the wing mirror while someone's tried to move off at the same time. Keep going. Yeah, just keep moving, slowly. He's very lucky that he's not broken any bones. Breathe out as you slowly roll forwards, nice and steady. So nice and tall. What happens when you do that? There's a trauma there. He's had to put up with somebody trying to run him over. I don't think that's easy for anybody, is it, really? He's got to get his head back around into normal life and some of the fears that drives as well. So it's not just the physical, is it? It's the other side of things as well.
Basically, what I'm hoping to achieve is better mobility, less pain. I've been office-bound, which isn't me, and I struggle with. So I'm hoping to finish the next couple of weeks on a high and be able to go back out policing on the street, where I should be, really.
You know, if somebody tries to run you over, that's going to make a big impression on you, isn't it? If someone points a gun at your head, you know, how's that going to drive you for the rest of your life? Do you ever get that out of your head? I doubt it, but you learn to manage it better. And these people are pretty strong characters.
The part that bothers me the most is definitely the why. I understand people have a dislike for the police, and I know that people will do pretty much anything to get away from the police if they feel threatened. But I never expected someone to run me over.
We've had this as plainclothes officers over and over again. Their defence will be, you were in plain clothes, I didn't know you were the police. That day, Mark's equipment was visible, and there is no reason or plausible excuse on this earth that that guy can give me for running Mark over that day.
Why didn't he stop afterwards? His windscreen was completely shattered. He couldn't see where he was going. He didn't stop. He didn't get out to ask if I was okay, because he didn't care. And it's not okay to just run over the police who are doing their job. Our role is to protect the public, but it would be nice if we felt protected ourselves.
Yeah, received just coming in behind the museum now.
Just to let you know, I think he clocked you.
I need to speak to you in relation to a theft from shops and boots yesterday. Okay, you do not have to say anything, may harm defence, do not mention one question, something which later on in court.
PC Ollie Gilder has been patrolling his hometown for nearly 5 years.
It's a small town. We do know a lot of the people. We can build those relationships, get that rapport, even with the people that we deal with day in, day out.
OK, calm down. Right, phone. Right, I'm just going to put it on the side, OK?
So growing up in a small town like Kings Lynn, everybody does know each other. That sort of local community. Everybody sort of knows everything.
Aye.
So I met Ollie, I was out with friends, he was out with friends, and we knew the same people, and we met in a pub.
My parents ran one of the biggest hotels in the centre of Kings Lynn on the Tuesday marketplace, which is one of the main focuses for big events. I enjoy making the town a live and work a safer place for people to commute to work in, and also to visit as well. It's one that I feel very passionately about.
Go ahead.
You do worry about getting that call when things aren't going to be all right, or would have more serious long-term effects. And I think that's at the back of your mind when he goes out on shift.
Ah, perfect. Cheers. Is there anything I need to do at all? Obviously, bar my statement.
I would say in the last 7 years, violence has increased. So 2016 was probably the toughest of my career so far professionally. I was only about 20 months into my career as a police officer since my transfer from PCSO, and you do start thinking, actually, is this the job that I want to be doing? Sometimes one punch is all it takes to kill someone. The local council have invested a lot of money recently in new cameras, and to know that people up there want to make sure you're safe. One of the CCTV operators at the time was also a servant special who I'd crewed with on a regular basis, so we know each other fairly well.
There are a lot of cameras. Obviously, you can see behind you the screens, the LED screens that show all the different cameras for Kings Lynn. They're all controlled by the operator. I can remember sitting on one of the front desks at the time, looking at the Tuesday Marketplace camera, and I was just looking at one to the far end at where the job centre was at the time, which gave a complete overview of down towards the town centre on the high street.
Earlier on that evening, we'd had a large music festival take place on Tuesday Marketplace. By the time we were out on area, that event had finished, and our main focus was going to be on the nighttime economy.
All of a sudden, an incident came over the radio for two females having a bit of an altercation.
So we've been dispatched to a possible fight in progress outside one of the local pubs.
I obviously turned the camera to face where they were because I wanted to see what was going on so I could pass that on to the control room via a live feed. Watching that, PC Gilder turned up with one of his colleagues in one of the prisoner vans.
So we've arrived on scene. We've come from the other side of the marketplace. As we've been down there, me and my colleague have gone down to the corner where there's two females. One of the security staff who's up this end of the marketplace outside the pub has then motioned me to come back here. As I've approached, the door staff have been centred really around the front of the window.
Whilst that was going on, a male was then ejected from the venue. I don't know the reason why, there was nothing called up over the radio.
I've been stood with my back to him, and he's run behind me, throwing the contents of the pint glass over us. I've kept an eye on him and watched him run down towards the high street.
Ollie had tried to deal with the people with the security guards. I saw a male starting to come running back.
As I've been stood pretty much in this position,
one of the door staff has shouted, "Watch out behind you," and as I've turned my head, within a second, I've seen the male with his fist clenched and drawn back quite a way behind his body, and he's swung.
I've just seen a fist come in and connect with me, and then I've gone to the floor.
It's one of those things that will never go away. Although I don't remember what happened as soon as he made contact, you can still see him with his fists clenched and didn't take any notice of his face, of the rest of his body. All I could see was that fist. And then seeing it coming towards me, at which point I've managed to turn my face. But it's one of those things that you probably never forget about anyway.
It was out of nowhere, it wasn't expected. You just saw the male coming towards Ollie. You can't shout out the window, you can't say, Ollie, look behind you. At that point, obviously, I don't know whether Ollie's still conscious, I don't know if he's been knocked out, I don't know what injuries he's got.
I don't remember, from the moment of impact to hitting the floor, I can't remember any part of that. I remember there was another female that was, I think, trying to help me up, back onto my feet, but you're trying to hit that 10-0 button.
Ollie then pressed his 10-0 button.
As soon as you've hit that, you're not thinking about what you're saying, you're literally just trying to get back into the situation. After stumbling around for a few seconds, trying to get my balance, I've managed to get over to the male that had punched me and applied one handcuff.
Next thing I know, all of the officers are on scene, there's blue lights all over the place.
The one thing I do remember was when leant over and putting handcuffs on him, said to me, "Are you the police officer I hit?" I was quite taken aback as to, he just didn't seem to be too bothered about it. So from the moment I parked up the van to the point when it was all under control, we're probably talking 3 minutes. The fact that for assaulting a police officer, you can get fined £165, it just showed, in my opinion, that at the time you can assault a police officer and it's really not going to cost you anything at all. £165, it's not much more than a night out.
I was quite shocked when we had the sentencing because you expected that there would be a punishment for that, particularly when it was on film and it was clear. It was just obvious that this just came out of nowhere, and it was, you know, and it was quite severe.
It was a second fairly serious assault in the space of 5 months for me. So to go back to work, you do become a bit, to some extent, apprehensive about the jobs that you're going to. And I won't hold it back that there was a couple of jobs shortly after that where I was confronted by a few people, and you're thinking, is this going to just end up in me going back to hospital again? It took a few weeks, if not months, for me to actually think, actually, I need to get on with this, I need to try and process it, and with the support of colleagues and other people, I've managed to get through that fairly quickly in some ways. Sometimes other officers it can take a lot longer, unfortunately.
According to the most recent crime survey for England and Wales, nearly 40% of violent incidents reported to the police were alcohol-related.
We're seeing a lot of connection to alcohol and drugs, that when there's that toxic sort of cocktail that adds to violence, that sometimes spills then towards police officers and police staff as they arrive to try to deal with the situation.
In England and Wales, an attack by a stranger is twice as likely to happen in a pub or a club.
Policing any major town or city centre is often going to be more challenging. There's more likelihood of alcohol and violence and drugs. However, officers and staff have got to be vigilant at all times, because every job they go to, that could be the one where somebody turns on them.